Welcome back to the Business Simple podcast. It is your host, James. I'm here all by myself on Friday afternoon after recording a couple of guest episodes, just to log a couple more episodes in this My Thoughts series. These are important. I know that the listenership's not the same as the guest episodes, but I really want to keep focused on putting out a high volume of content and keep you guys understanding what is going on inside of my head with the various things that I'm learning running this company, running these campaigns, just in real life doing this stuff. What I'm going to talk to you about today is, are all leads created equal? And I want to share with you my thoughts on this and how we currently embrace generating inquiries for our clients and how we consider our clients' situations when it comes to making suggestions around how they should generate inquiries for themselves. So, when you think about leads for a business, there is a variance across what a lead is in the market. So I want to break down how I would define a lead for you. A lead to me is someone who has engaged with messaging and has provided their contact information for one of your team to get in touch. That's how I would define it. That's the mark where I'd define a lead being generated. I've heard people talking about engagements on posts as potential leads and things like that. I just don't think it's really fair. I think once someone gives you their contact information, they give you permission to contact them. When you look at lead generation from a digital perspective, the conversation becomes really interesting because there's a number of different conversions that might generate a lead. So if you go through the top 3 most common, let's go 4. I just want to break one up for the sake of an argument. You have an on-platform form. They have these across multiple platforms. So Meta's the main one that you will see. They're on LinkedIn, they're on other places like that. It is a form where within the app, you can click on an ad, that form pops up, you can enter your details and you can click submit and a lead is generated. You then have Messenger, different conversions like that involve a little bit of a conversation. Maybe that conversation's automated, maybe it's manual, but that is engaging with, mostly on Meta, a company under that company's direct messenger, and getting in contact with them, that information being requested from them and then them providing it. You then have a website lead, which is, really any source, Google, anything like that. Traffic goes to your website, they submit a contact us form, a download guide form, which are obviously very different leads, information pack request or something like that. And then you go to landing page leads, which are usually an isolated web page that you can't find anywhere aside from advertising, that traffic is driven to in the name of converting as much of that traffic to leads as possible. Now, to answer the question that I started this podcast with, which is, are all leads created equal? The answer is no. And the reason that all leads are not created equal, in my opinion, is that it takes a different level of effort for each of those conversion options for someone to inquire with a business. So for Meta, for example, a on-platform lead, you click a button and your details are auto-filled. You can make 2 more clicks and a lead is submitted, right? No typing, no anything, no qualifying questions, nothing like that. You just go tap, 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 leads in their inbox. You see a house and you're like, I want to know a little bit more information on that. Tap, tap, tap. Where's the information? Leads in the inbox. So because the barrier is so low, typically your cost per lead will be lower to align with it. Not always, but typically. But the overarching intent of those leads, people use the term quality, but I like the word intent of those leads, can also be lower. Maybe someone that's just loosely interested, or you get feedback on these leads like, I didn't even realize that I inquired, etc., etc. Messenger I don't like because it's hard to inquire, so the barrier is high because you've got to manually type and talk and do all those sorts of things, and it's also on platform, and it's just weird. It's confusing. It's hard for users. It's one of those ones where even if the chatbot is automated and you've used all of the logic in your brain to make it as easy to follow as possible, it still can be challenging for someone to inquire, and I don't love it a lot. But that's sort of how Messenger works, kind of middle of the round. You then go website. Website's the opposite Like a website, if you're driving traffic from Facebook to your website, you're playing the opposite game to an on-platform lead form, where you just dump someone onto your website homepage and go, find the form if you want it. It's like they have to consume so much information and put so much thought into how they actually convert with you. You're always going to wind up with a really high cost per lead. Now, we do use this tactic for some people, and we do it deliberately. We never do it out of laziness. I see a lot of it in the agency space out of laziness. We never do it out of laziness. We do it deliberately because that client's really intent conscious when it comes to leads that come through. They need them qualified out. They need those sorts of things. Using your website is a great way to ensure that. Then you have a landing page, which is kind of halfway between, right? So what a landing page is it's a page where there are lots of call to actions, there are forms to submit, there are all sorts of things on that page. There's no navigation away from that page. So you can't go to a services page or an about us page or a products page or anything like that. All the information you require to inquire or purchase is on that page. And you're driving traffic directly there with a purpose. So you might have an ad for a product. If it's set up properly, that product should also be the thing that's on the landing page. It shouldn't be like a generalized, generic company page or anything like that. This probably of all the conversions at the moment is my favorite. It's my flavor of the month, if you will. But that can vary from time to time, and it does also depend on different strategies, right? The reason why I like landing pages is because they take a little bit of effort. You have to wait for the page to load. You have to read a little bit. Not too much, but you have to read a little bit. You have to manually type your information in. There might even be a couple of qualifying questions just to make sure that you're legit and you're the kind of person they want to talk to. Then you get to give your information over. Then you hit submit. Then you become a lead. And because of that, the average intent of those leads, and therefore usually quality of those leads, tends to be higher. But you can still get a good volume because people aren't getting lost in the void of your web page, your web homepage, when they click that learn more button and go through to your website. So where this becomes relevant, if you're a business owner and you're thinking about this, is my feeling. If you have a sales team that is trained and understands how to qualify leads, and they have the resource and time to be able to do so, putting as many leads through that business as possible makes a lot of sense, because you also grow a database. Like, let's say someone clicks on a house ad for you. They're not actually ready to buy a house yet, but they're interested in houses because they will be ready to buy houses in 3 years, and you have a big sales team. It's perfectly fine to put that lead through, add them to your database, have a salesperson call them. That person, if they're trained, will ask them the questions. They'll know it's 3 years away. Notes will get added in the CRM. All the things will happen. That's still a valuable person to have in that database. Then you send an email to them once a week. Can you do this? You do that. You do all these things. You will likely, at some point, if you're consistent and you manage the process, turn that unqualified lead into a qualified lead, and ideally an opportunity and a customer. If, however, you don't have a big sales team that aren't qualified in doing that stuff, you can very easily inundate them with inquiries, especially if you have a really appealing product, and then they wind up not nurturing any of those leads or working in the leads the way that they're supposed to, and it turns into a bit of a problem because you have a negative customer experience. Your salespeople don't like it because they're calling a whole lot of people that aren't perfectly qualified, and it can deteriorate downhill pretty quickly and go pretty bad pretty fast. So considering that, if you are in the second position rather than the first one, something like a landing page may be better. The website homepage thing can be really relevant for, say, like really niche services. So like B2B, you need super high qualified. They need a huge amount of information prior to inquiring, and you're sort of qualifying out and meeting with half the leads that come in or a third of the leads that come in or something like that. Website homepage would do that. It's just very easy to pay $200 a lead. So they need to be valuable leads, and you need to, once you get them, really work with them, right? Whereas you might have a lead form. I mean, we have lots of lead form ads running live at the moment that are singular dollar cost per lead or low tens or things like that. You're going to get you'll get 20 leads for every one lead you might get through your homepage. So you can now sort of start to see how we build things out. Messenger, I don't love. Maybe if you had like an administrator helping to organize bookings or something, it might be valuable and they're able to manually go through it. Messenger, I don't really know what a fit is, and we don't really use it. But that, to me, kind of summarizes what is a lead and are all leads created equal? The answer is no. The key for you and your business is how do we use the cash that we've got to create the best outcomes for our company, especially if you need leads, right? what kind of leads that I just spoke to you about are the ones that you think will appeal to you the best. And if you then have answered that question internally, ensure whoever it is you're working with from a marketing perspective, their strategy aligns with what you want for your team and your business. Do make sure that you don't go too soft on the salespeople. I've seen that happen in businesses in the past. It doesn't really help the overall mission. But yeah, that is my gut feel on leads. That's how we approach it. That's how we prescribe. We'll ask questions like, how big is your sales team? Do they like leads? How do they got them at the moment? And we'll be able to make a decision as to what way to generate those leads, what the best way is. It is also worth considering, just as a closing note, if the product that you're selling is hyper appealing, you need to lift the barrier. Because I think vehicle finance is a great example of this, right? A lot of people want to be able to buy expensive vehicles or boats or like any other form of asset finance. And so if you don't have that barrier high enough, you're going to wind up with a heap of people who are actually a waste of time that you're trying to work through. So that's where those qualifying techniques become super valuable. So anyway, if you're still listening, thanks for hearing me waffle on for that time. I'm getting pretty nasally, so that may not have been the most pleasant thing to listen to. So I do really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe, follow, do all that sort of thing across Spotify, social media platforms, YouTube, all that kind of jazz. We are going to be really, really going with this podcast over the next little bit, and I'm really excited to put out some awesome content. So yeah, stay tuned. Hope you got some value from that, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you very much.